Hello everyone, welcome. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this vest. It's a crop vest and this is how the front part looks like. Then this is how the back part looks like. So the back part is a bit open with flowers. I like to call them flowers, and as you can see, it's very beautiful. For the materials, we're going to need yarn, and we're going to use a medium weight yarn. The yarn that I'm using is called Winter King. So you can substitute these with any medium weight yarn that you have. Then we're going to need the scissors, a yarn needle, and then we're going to need a 3mm hook. So let's get started. So to begin this project, get your yarn and start with a slip knot. Like that, then chain 40. Then after chaining 40, add one more chain, then go into the 40th stitch with a single crochet like that. Then work 19 more single crochets on that chain for a total of 20 single crochets. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Next, we're going to work 20 half double crochets to the end of the row. So work 20 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 'At the end of the first row, and I've worked my 20 half double crochets, and we're going to start increasing right away. So if you look at our top right here, this is our beginning point. This right here is our first row, this one, and it's the one that we worked 20 single crochets and 20 half double crochets. But now at the end of that first row, we're going to work 2 half double crochets in the last stitch. So we've already worked the first one. We are increasing so that we can get this curve right here, and we'll increase right from the first row. So right here we have 20 half double crochets, so we add one more into the last stitch for a total of 21. So right here we add 1 half double crochets like that. So we worked our first row with an increase on the side of the half double crochets. Next we chain 1 and turn. In the second row, we're going to start with an increase in the first stitch. So we go into this first stitch, make 2 half double crochets right there, then work half double crochet till you get to the point where you have the single crochets. I've worked the half double crochets up to the point where we have the single crochets. So at this point we have a total of 21 half double crochets. Sorry, not 21 but 22. The first row is the one that had 21. So the second one after this first increase right here will have 22. Next we're going to work 20 single crochets, and the single crochets are worked in the back loops only. So this is the front loop, so we don't work on that, we go into the back one, the back loop right there, and work a single crochet and into the other back loop. Next we work the back loop. So we work the back loops only. So for the whole of this project, when you're working the single crochets, we'll only work the back loops only. So work the back loops only for a total of 20 single crochets. And that will get you to the end of row 2. At the end of row 2, chain 1 and turn. Then again we are working single crochets on the back loops only for a total of 20. So work 20 single crochets. So on the side of the single crochets we'll only be working back loops only, and the single crochets will always remain 20 for the whole of the project. So work the 20 single crochets in the back loops till you get to where we have. So this right here is where our half double crochets begin. So right here in this stitch we put half double crochet, and we're going to put 1 half double crochet into each stitch till we get to the end. And at the end of this row we're going to work an increase. So at the end of the third row we should have a total of 23 half double crochets. So we are at the end of the third row, and this right here is not the last stitch. These are hidden stitch right here, which is our last stitch. So this is our second last stitch. We go right here with a half double crochet. Then into this hidden stitch right here, we put 2 half double crochets. And there we are done with our row 3. To begin row 4, we chain 1 and turn. So now row 4 we are also increasing in the first stitch right there. Put 2 half double crochets, then 1 half double crochet up to the point where we have the single crochets. So we are increasing, and we should have a total of 9 rows of increase, and the increase is only happening on this side of half double crochets. So for the 4th row we've increased in the beginning. For the 5th row we'll increase at the end of the row right here. For the 6th we'll start in the beginning, the increase will be in the beginning. For the 7th the increase will be at the end, and we'll keep alternating like that until we have a total of 9 rows. We chain a chain of 20, so we are increasing upwards. This is a part that we want to form, so we are at this point. So right here we're going to chain upwards, so we curve upwards, so we make a chain of 20. So I have made by 20 chains. After the 20 chains, I'll hold the 20th chain, then make 2 more chains, then half double crochet on that chain that I'm holding, the 20th chain. Then we're going to make half double crochets on each stitch of the chains, then half double crochet onto the previous half double crochets till we get to where we have the single crochets, and then when we get to the single crochets we're going to work the single crochets on the back loops. So on this chain stitch work half double crochets. So you'll have a total of 20 half double crochets plus the 29 that we already have. You'll get to a total of 49 half double crochets, and the single crochets will remain 20. I'm done with row 10, which has 49 half double crochets and 20 single crochets. Next we chain 1 and turn, and now we're going to move on to our row 11. Now for row 11 up to row 15 we are not going to increase at any point, so we're going to work 20 single crochets, 49 half double crochets, for a total of 5 more rows. So including this one they're going to be 6. So 6 plus the 9 that we've already worked, we'll have a total of 15. So I'm done with my 15 rows right here. This is the end of row 15, and I'm done with the part that we're not increasing at all. So next we're going to move on to row 16, and we're going to work from row 16 to row 25 while decreasing on this side of the half double crochet. So for row 16 we are going to decrease at the beginning. For row 17 we'll decrease at the end. So we are right here at the end of row 15. So what we need to do is chain 1 and turn. To decrease, I go into the first half double crochet with a single crochet, but do not complete the single crochet. Then go into the second with half double crochet, that is incomplete, then pull through all the loops. And right there we've done our first decrease. So next we're going to work half double crochets on each of the half double crochets till you get to where you have the single crochets. Then when you get to the single crochets, work the single crochets the same way we've done. So we are working row 16 with the reduction at the beginning, work till the end right here, then work back till you get here, and I'll show you how to reduce at the end of the 17th row. So I'm at the end of row 17 and I have 2 stitches remaining here, so I need to convert these 2 into 1 stitch. To do that, I'm going to yarn over, go into the second last stitch, pull a loop, go into the last stitch, pull a loop, then pull through. And there we've worked our decrease in the 17th row. So we chain 1 and turn and move on to row 18. Row 18 we're also decreasing. So to decrease, go into that first stitch, pull a loop, yarn over, go into the second one, pull another loop, then pull through all the loops. So we worked the decrease for row 18. Now we're going to work decreases from row 18 to row 25. So we'll have a total of 10 rows of reduction. And at the end of the 25th row, you should have 20 single crochets and 39 half double crochets. So at this point, I've already worked my reduction from row 16 to row 25. So right here is where we have row 25 after the reduction. Then I also went ahead to work 4 rows of non-increase or decrease. So go ahead and work your 4 rows. Then after the 4 rows, we're going to work upwards an increase. So this is how our top looks like. So this part goes below the armpits. This is the front part that goes up to the shoulder, and then we have this part that is coming down, then going flat, and then we're going to go up with an increase. So we're going to increase for a total of 10 rows. Then after the increase of 10 rows, we're going to work 6 rows. Just like we worked on this side, we're going to work 6 rows on the other side. And then after the 6 rows, then we'll work this part that goes below the armpit on the other part of the top, and we'll be done with the front part. So let's work the 10 rows increase. So to increase, we've chained 1, I've chained 1 and turned. So to increase, I work 2 half double crochets into that first stitch. So work your 2 half double crochets, then work 1 half double crochet to the point where you have the single crochets. I'm coming to the end of the second row of increase, and right here we have our second last stitch, then we have the last stitch right here. So what we do is we put 1 half double crochet into that second last stitch right there. Then in the very last stitch we put 2 half double crochets. And there we're done with the second row of increase. Next we chain 1 and turn. Then we start with an increase in that very first stitch, put 2 half double crochets right there. then 1 half double crochet in each of the previous half double crochet stitches to the end, then work back up. When you get to this end, increase, that is, put 2 half double crochets into the last stitch, and we're going to work this for a total of 10 rows of increase. So right here I'm done with the 10 rows increase, and at this point we have a total of 39 rows. Next we're going to work 6 rows of no increase or decrease. So we're going to have a part that is identical to this side right here that goes to the shoulders. So we're going to work the other shoulder on this part for a total of 6 rows. So I've worked the 6 rows with no increase, no decrease, and this is what we have. At the end of the 6th row, I've chained 1, cut off the yarn. So this is what we have right now. Next we need to work this part here, the identical part to this side, and to do that we count 21 half double crochets from this point where we've cut off the yarn. So I've already counted and marked my point right here. This is my 21st stitch. So what I do next is reattach the yarn at that point. So to reattach the yarn, I start by making a slip knot. Then I go into this 21st stitch with my hook and reattach the yarn right there. Then I go into that loop with a single crochet that is incomplete. Then yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and then pull through all the loops on that hook. So that will be our first stitch. Then we work 1 half double crochet till we get to the point where we have the single crochets. When we get to the single crochets, we're going to work the 20 single crochets in the back loops only to the end of the row. Then when we get to the end of that row, we're going to chain 1 and turn, work 20 single crochets, then work the remaining half double crochets till you get to the second last half double crochet. When we get to the second last half double crochet, we're going to join the last and the second last to make one. So we're going to work a reduction at the end of our second row from this point. So work this first row, then let's meet at the end of the second row and I'll show you how to work the decrease. I've worked the second row after reattaching the yarn, and I have 2 stitches right here remaining, so I'm going to work a decrease. So I yarn over, go into that second last stitch, pull a loop, go into the last stitch with a single crochet, pull a loop, then pull through all the loops. And that's our second decrease. Then we chain 1 and turn. We go into the first, pull a loop, yarn over, go into the second, pull a loop, then pull through all the loops on that hook, and we worked the third decrease. So we're going to work decreases on this side. I'm on the 6th row of decrease and I'm coming to the end of the 6th row. So right here we're going to decrease with these 2 last stitches. So yarn over, go into the second last stitch, pull a loop, go into the last, pull another loop, then pull through all the loops, then chain 1 and turn. On row 7 we go into the first stitch, pull a loop, yarn over, go into the second, yarn over, pull a loop, then pull through. So that's the reduction for the 7th row. We are working a total of 9 rows of decrease, so we are on the 7th one. So go ahead and make the 7th, the 8th and the 9th row of decrease. Remember, the decrease is only happening on the side of the half double crochets. The single crochets remain 20 throughout the project. Also remember, you're only working the back loops only with the single crochets. So right here I'm done with the 9 rows decrease. This is what we have, and we've come up to this end, and now at this point we are done with the front part of the top. Next we work the back part, and to work the back part we don't need to cut the yarn. We're just going to chain 1 and turn, and then we'll move on to the back part. In order to start the back part, I chain 1 and turn, then work 20 single crochets in the back loops as usual. I've worked the 20 single crochets. Next we're going to skip this first stitch of half double crochet, then you crochet into the second one. Now we're going to change from half double crochets into double crochets, so we'll be working with double crochets. So into that second half double crochet, go in there with a double crochet, chain 1, go back into the same stitch with a double crochet. And these are shell stitch, and they are the ones that I'm calling flowers, so you can say that this is our first flower. Next we're going to chain 3, so chain 3, 1 2 3, then skip 4 stitches, 1 2 3 and 4, then into the 5th work half double crochet, chain 1, another half double crochet into that same stitch, and that's our second flower. Again we chain 4, 3, that is 2 and 3, so we chain 3, skip 4, 1 2 3 and 4, into the 5th work a flower right there, chain 3, skip 4, 1 2 3 4, into the 5th work a flower, that is 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet into the same stitch, again chain 3, then go into the last stitch right here with a flower. So this is what we have. That is our first row, the first row of the back part of the top. To move on to the next row, we chain 1 and turn. Into that last stitch, work 1 double crochet. Then into the chain stitch, this one right here, we work 1 double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet. So this double crochet that we worked at the beginning right here acts as an increase. Then next we chain 1, then in between these chain 3 stitch that we work a single crochet right there, then chain 1 into the single crochet of the second flower, work another flower on top there. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, then chain 1, then on the chain 3 stitch, single crochet, chain 1, go on top of the next flower, work another flower right there into that chain stitch that is separating the double crochets, then chain 1, single crochet on the chain 3 stitch, chain 1 onto the flower, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Then chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, flower, then next we're going to work 20 single crochets right here. So work the single crochets, then work back with the single crochets. Let's meet right here, then I'll show you how to work the end of the third row. So we are going to the end of the second row, so work the second row to the end, then work it back until you get to the end of the single crochets, then I'll show you how to finish the third row. On the third row, and I've already worked the single crochets, so I'm at the end of the single crochets right here. So next what we need to do is work a flower on top of this first flower right here. So yarn over, go into the chain 1 stitch, work a double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet, then chain 3, go into the next flower. So we are skipping over to the next one, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 3, go into the next one, work a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 3, skip over to the next, work a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 3, right here, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So we've worked the last flower and we have a last chain, a last stitch right here, which is a double crochet. So we go in there with a double crochet and we're increasing. So after putting that first double crochet, we go into the same stitch and put another double crochet right there. So that's the end of row 3. Again we chain 1, turn to start row 4. Again we're increasing, so in this first stitch we're going to put 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2 on top of the second double crochet, then we have, now we skip over to the flower or the chain 1 stitch, that's between the 2 double crochets. So a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then repeat to the end. Repeat to the end, then work back, and I'll meet you at the end of row 5 to show you how to increase right there. So chain, single crochet now, chain, flower, chain, and single crochet. I've worked row 5 to these points. So next we're going to work on top of the double crochets that are remaining. We have 3, so 1 into each of the 2, these 2, and then 2 into the last for an increase. So then into the last put 2 double crochets. Next, chain 1 and turn. We are moving on to row 6. Row 6 again, we start with an increase, 2 double crochets into this first stitch, a double crochet on top of the second double crochet into the next, then into the next, for a total of 5 double crochets. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we move on to our first flower right there and work another flower, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, single crochet. So continue the pattern to the end, then work back with row 7 to this end. I'm coming to the end of row 7 and I have only 1 stitch remaining, the last one right here. So into this last stitch we increase as usual, put 2 double crochets, and this is what we have. We are at this point. This is how the back part looks like at this point. Next we're going to chain 20 so that we move up to the shoulder part that will be joined with this other part right here. So chain 20, so I have chained 20. Next we chain 1 and turn. So now we're going to work a double crochet on top of each of the chain stitches for a total of 20 double crochets. Up to this point we should have 20. So we start with this stitch right here. Go into the stitch with a double crochet, then put a double crochet down, I've worked the 20 double crochets and this is what we have. Next we work 6 double crochets on top of the previous double crochets. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we skip over to the flower now. We work another flower on top there. Then repeat the pattern to this end, the pattern that we've been working. So right here we do a single crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, so work to the end, then repeat the pattern till you get to the end right here where we have the last flower, and then I'll show you what to do next. So we are in row 7, so work row 7, then work back row 8 to this point. I had mentioned earlier that we'll be working row 8 back to this point, but I just realized that we are in row 9. This row that had double crochets right here was the row 8, so I've worked row 8 to this end, then I'm working row 9 coming back upwards, and I'm at the end of this last flower right here. And right here we're going to chain, I've worked the flower, so we chain 3, then we skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 into the 5th, work a double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet, again chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 4 into the 5th, work double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 3, skip 4, work double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, again chain 3, skip, chain 3 again, skip 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 into this one, work a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. When we get to this point we have 3 stitches remaining, so we are going to skip over to the last stitch and work a double crochet. First we chain 1, then work a double crochet at the end, like that. We are done with row 9, so chain 1, turn, work a double crochet into that first stitch, chain 1, skip over to the flower, work another flower on top, chain 1, single crochet on top of the chain 3, chain 1, flower on top of the other flower, so we're going to repeat this pattern to the end of row 10. I'm done with row 10 here, so I chain 1 and turn to start row 11, and for row 11 up to row 16 we're just going to work this pattern to the end and repeat for a total of till we get to row 16. I forgot to mention that when we are working row 13 up to 16 we are going to change from single crochets on this end, and instead we'll be working half double crochets in the back loop. So I've done row 12, so I chain 1 and turn. And now we're going to change from single crochets to half double crochets. So yarn over, go into that first stitch, the back loop only, then pull through. So from row 13 to row 16, we work half double crochets on the end that has single crochets for a total of 20 half double crochets. And remember, we're also working in the back loops only. So the only part that is changing is this part where we are working half double crochets instead of single crochets. The other parts remain the same. So the flowered part remains, the pattern remains. So work 20 half double crochets and then continue with the pattern. So I've worked up to row 16, and this is row 17 that I've worked up to this point. So row 17 does not go to the top. We only work a total of 6 flowers. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that is the end of row 17. So to work row 18, we chain 1 and turn. Then go into that flower, into the double single crochet, not the single crochet but the chain stitch. Work a double crochet, chain 1, work another double crochet, then repeat the pattern down to this point. So now at this point I'm done with row 18, and that marks the end of this side. So this side of the back part of the top is done. Now we need to cut off the yarn. So we chain 1, chain 1, get your pair of scissors, cut off the yarn, then pull through and fasten, and we are done with one side of the back part of the top. And this is how the top looks like at this point. So we move on to this other side. And we're going to reattach our yarn right here. So get your yarn, make a slip knot, get the first stitch right here, reattach the yarn there with a slip knot like that, then chain 1 and work 20 single crochets. So after reattaching the yarn, we're just going to work this side. So this side we're going to work it the same way we worked the other side. Remember, when you get to row 13, you're going to change the single crochets into half double crochets. So for this, the first side we worked a total of 18 rows, but on this side we're going to work a total of 16. So we're going to work from row 1 to row 16. Now row 17 and row 18 act as the middle part of the back part of the top. So that's why we're not going to work 18 rows but 16. So work 16 rows on this side that are identical to the other side, and I'll meet you when you're done. So right here I'm done with the other side of the back part of the top, and now what's remaining is to join these two right here so that it becomes one piece. So we're joining at this point. So we hold our top like this. The loop is on the other side of the top, so I go into the loop of this other side, the first loop, then through the first stitch of the other side, and then get my loop onto the hook and pull it through like that. So we are going to join the corresponding stitches of one side of the piece, one side of the back and the other side, until we get here. So let's join. So we start by chaining one, work a single crochet into that first stitch, work a single crochet into the next stitch. We're joining them together, remember, and we're joining with single crochets. So the corresponding stitches of the two pieces, join them together with single crochets. So we've gotten to the first flower. So the first double crochet of the first flower with the double crochet on the other side, join in the middle stitch where we will have chain one, join on top of the double crochets, the chain one stitch, the single crochets together, then the chain one stitches, double crochets of the next flower, join them together, the chain stitch in between, the double crochets, the chain stitch, the single crochets, a chain, and so on. So do that until you get to this flower right here. So the top part will be an open part. So work till you get right here. I've joined to this end, and this is how the top looks like right now. So don't worry if the back part looks a bit shorter, it stretches, so it will stretch out and be equal to the front part. So we are at this point. I'm going to pull the yarn up, and then I'll turn the top. So this is what we have for the back part. So I'm going to put my hook back right here, and I'm going to work an edging on this top from this point to this end. And for the edging, I'm going to put one single crochet into each of the stitches. So starting from here, I'll put a single crochet into the chain stitch, single crochet into single crochet, chain stitch gets a single crochet. So every stitch, including the chain stitches, gets a single crochet up to this end. I've put a single crochet onto every stitch up to this point, from here to here, and on this last stitch I'm going to put 2 more single crochets for a total of 3. So 1 and 2, and that helps us to turn to this other side. Now on this other side we have double crochet stitches all through up to this point. So every double crochet stitch gets 2 single crochets, starting with the first one right here. So we put 2 single crochets onto every row of double crochets. So right here we put 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets right here, 2 single crochets, so that is our last single crochet, and we're done with the edging on this side. So chain up 1 and cut the yarn. Pull through and fasten. So we are done with the edging on this side. We've done the edging from the middle part right here up to this point. Next we move on to the other side and do the edging. So we're going to reattach the yarn right here. Then work 2 single crochets onto every row of double crochet. So we start with 1, 2, next we work 2, So when we get to this last stitch right here, the corner stitch, we put 3 double crochets. So I've already put 1, so we put 2 more. Now we're going to work a single crochet onto every stitch. So we start with this chain stitch right here. We go on top of the double crochet, on top of the chain stitch, on top of the double. So right here I'm done with the edging, and I've come to the beginning of the first edging that we did on the other side. So right here we slip stitch, chain 1 and cut off the yarn, pull through and fasten. Next we're going to do a edging on the neck part, the shoulders and the neck part. So we're going to put our edging on this part from the one shoulder to another, going through the neck part. So we're going to work single crochets on the rows, and we're going to alternate between 2 single crochets on one row, 1 single crochet on the next one. So right here, we attach the yarn, then chain 1 into this first row of half double crochet, put 2 single crochets. Into the next row, put 1 single crochet. Into the next, put 2. The next one gets 1, then the next gets 2, then 1, 2, then 1, 2. So we are working the single crochets on the half double crochet rows. So make sure to alternate between 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet. So when you put 1 single crochet in one row, the next row gets 2 single crochets, and we're going to work round till we get to this end right here. So I've worked the single crochets on the neck part up to this side. Next, now we need to join the 2 pieces together at the shoulders right here, like this. And to do that, we need to turn our top inside out. So like this. So right here, chain 1, then go into the first stitch right there that we worked, then through the other stitch on the other side, the first stitch on the back part of the top, like this. So we're going to join the single crochets together with a single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we're going to join with 10 single crochets up to that point. And at this point now, the shoulders are joined. This is a part that will go above your shoulders. So now we chain 1 and cut off the yarn, pull through and fasten. So we've joined one side of the shoulders, so we move on to the other side. Again, we join for 10 stitches. For this one, I'm going to hold it this way, reattach the yarn here. I've worked the 10 single crochets, so what's left to do right here is chain 1 and cut the yarn, then pull through and fasten, and our top is done. So we turn it the right way, And this is what we have. This is the front part. This is the part that goes to your waist. It's elastic to ensure that you get a good fitting. Here we attach the yarn right here and make a chain of 50, then attach on the other side and make another chain of 50 chains. So 1, 2, 3. So after the 50 chains, cut off the yarn, make a knot at that end. Make sure the knot is close to the stitches. Like that. Then cut this yarn off. And we have our first chain, or the first strap. So we move on to the other side, reattach the strap right here with 50 chains like on the other side. I have worked the straps on both sides of the back part of the top, and now this is the final look of our top. So these straps will tie the back part together to close it up like this. And right now we are done with the top. I've also gone ahead to hide all the straps or all the strings that were hanging around using the yarn needle. So make sure to do that too. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial. If you've liked it, kindly give it a thumbs up. You can also share it with your friends who might be interested in making such a top. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you get to support me. And also you can hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a tutorial.